There we go. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting.
Do I have to write down the words?
I don't really care what you write. Question is, you just need to know it. Or the question is, do you know it? Hmm. I'll give you like 1 minute to wrap that up, and then I'll explain how things are changing. Actually, we'll change. Well, if you're here today, I'm guessing you probably came through the storm without too much significant damage, hopefully. If not, that's you understand what I'm about to say. But some people had some pretty serious, possibly even traumatic experiences in the storm. So just be sensitive. It's not a joking thing. Like you watch news or even social media, I'm sure was posting some of the crazy stuff that happened. Like there are people whose homes are destroyed, like at least temporarily, like they get them repaired. But cars are totaled, not operable. Like their lives are going to be dramatically altered for a while. Out at the beaches, there was a lot of areas close to water. There was horrible flooding. Again, that's mainly what destroyed homes and cars. There was 6 feet of sand, literally above my head out at beach areas, deposited from the waves coming in and bringing the sand. Like washed all the dunes up. There are boats in houses now, like that were washed into the houses from the storm. So it is a big deal for some people. So just be sensitive to that. Like I said, I think most people were pretty lucky. Most of us don't live at the beach, or we wouldn't be at the school. We could have been at school. But you may have some people that did experience that kind of stuff. Oh, I was going to do attendance on the whiteboard. Let's see who we got. Manatee at Manatee tonight, though, right? They're good. I looked up their ranking. They're like 27 in the state. But I actually thought Braden River was a good team down south because they're only like 200. Yeah. So yeah, tonight should be a. That's a good. Yes, sir. And then I go after. Actually, I may have to hold you until I in. We'll see where we're at.
My parents don't have By the way, I'm back. The ring after school today.
I'll talk about that stuff. All right. All right, so I need zero noise. I'm not talking about grades. You don't care about your grades. Some people do. So zero noise. All right. So obviously things had to change because of what happened. Missing 3 days of school. I don't imagine they're going to change our quarter. I haven't seen anything about them pushing the quarter in back. So we somehow have to make up. We're already behind, so now we got to make more stuff up. Which I will make those adjustments. What you need to worry about is your deadline, your new deadline. First deadline for the blue quiz is going to be this Wednesday. You got today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. End of day Wednesday. Like after school, I'll stay. Since that'll be a deadline. Try to stay on it. That is the 2 easy IXLs, which I said I will allow you to replace tutoring requirements with those easy IXLs. If that's all you do, though, you won't do any better in the quiz. I'm just telling you, those IXLs were way easier than I thought. You're going to need to do some other studying besides that. I did assign some stuff you can use. Right. Did not reach. So those, this is for Wednesday here. So that would be the one you could do for Wednesday. These would be for Friday. So your black quiz that is on angles and also on two-dimensional figures. So you see there's 2 dates. That is Friday. Which I did not assign anything in this, but there are IXLs on that. And again, I sent a message out. If you didn't get it, I'll put something up tomorrow in class and see y'all again tomorrow. But I sent the message with which IXLs you can use for the black quizzes. And I think I maybe even said for the blue quiz too. But the book problems are where I pull quiz questions from. So I would say that's probably your first. You have to submit that. I might be able to see it, but if you submit it, I know I can see it. So make sure you submit it if you got a 40 or below, so I know that you put in the time to replace your tutor. I will allow all 3 of those to replace tutoring as well, in addition to the IXLs that I put in the this is one I created. It's only like either 6 or 8 questions. And I don't care if you skip over questions that we didn't really do. Like they ask you to name the edges of a figure or it's not a bad idea to do them so that you can feel like you're comfortable. But mainly, if you want to be ready for the quizzes, you need to do the problems where you solve for an angle or for a variable or something like that. And if you just do those, I'm fine with it. But you got to submit it. And if for some reason I don't have time to look because there's 20 people doing a retake, I might ask you a question. I might say, hey, how would you solve this? How would you set this up? If you can't answer it, I will not let you take it. You don't magically do better by just walking into this room and doing a retake. You need to be prepared. You don't have the time, especially now that we're cramming stuff in. I don't have the time to sit there and grade a bunch of people's quizzes that didn't prepare and don't know what they're doing. You're just creating more work for me without putting any time yourself. Any questions on that deadline? So Wednesday is the angles and congruence, which again, there's 2 easy IXLs that I will allow to replace tutoring, but if you want to do well, you should probably do that. Make sure you submit them. Oh, crap. I actually record. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. So again, Wednesday, make sure you submit these. Make sure you submit. So there'll be a little button after you do the last question that just says submit. I think you can actually do it 3 times. So if you want to try it multiple times, just make sure you're ready. Again, I don't care if you skip around. You don't have to do 30 questions at a time. But do 3 or 4 questions that you know you need work on. You should be good if you do those. Some of the IXLs are not bad too. Oh, tutoring. So somebody asked about tutoring. I will probably tutor Thursday. So that would be for the black. Remember, keep in mind, if you wait until Thursday to tutor, you better show up Friday. I will not change the deadline. Putting tutoring at the end, I don't love doing that, but I can't really do it on the same day that is the deadline because there's going to be a bunch of people in here taking quizzes. So if you wait until that day, you better make sure, like you wait to tutor, you better make sure you show up Friday to do the retake. Bring your laptops Wednesday. We're going to do all testing on Wednesday. So we have 3 district tests that we have to take. We're just going to get it all done in one block period. Going to push it and try to, but we were supposed to spread it out over 2 weeks, but then we had the hurricane, so now we're just going to. Okay, we'll split yours up into Wednesday and Thursday. Well, Wednesday and Thursday then for you guys. So bring your laptops Wednesday and Thursday. We're just going to do it in here. There will be grades associated with it. I don't know which questions yet, but I'll tell you that on those days, like for each different test you're taking, which questions you need to work out on paper and show me. The cycle test is all multiple choice. So you don't have anything you have to work out, but I'll tell you a couple you need to work out. That one, actually, I don't even see that. I don't know how okay, so the cycle test, I may just be counting that as a grade because I can't see that ahead of time to know which ones you need to work out. So for the cycle test, I'll just be taking, it might just be an extra credit thing where if you do really well, I give you extra credit. Because I can't really do it any other way, grade it any other way. Let's see, any questions on any of that? So if you didn't get your books, you need your books. Page 163. Book. Should look like that. Proving segment relationships. And we barely got through this page in the other class. Which is not good because we got a whole lesson to do tomorrow also. And we didn't even get half this lesson. What do we get out at? 54? Yeah. 34. All right, so we're moving into something called writing proofs. So writing proofs is basically what we sort of started doing when we did the first logic lesson about, like, I said that a conjecture is not proof, right? Seeing a pattern in something is not proof. Now we're going to prove something. This is what proving something means. You use statements one at a time that have been proven. So one quick example, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Right triangles. That has been proven. We can use that as a reason to, like, make a statement. Then, you know, a third side would be a certain measurement, something like that. We've also kind of sort of said something else is true that we are now going to learn the official math definition of. And that's little plus little is big. So write this down. Little plus little equals big. I don't care if you write that all in words, if you make it like look like an equation like we've done. So you can write it, I guess I should have told you this part first. Is this postulate right here. So if you look at it, underneath it, it's little plus little is big. AB plus BC, lazy. So we've already done that. Not new. You just have to make sure you memorize that name. Segment addition could be called line segment addition. Sometimes they put the word line in there. Just understand that is little plus little is big. This one up above, I'm not going to really spend time on it. All that's saying, and I've never seen that in a proof, that's just saying if you have a line segment, you can associate numbers with that line segment. Meaning if this is a length of 3 and we put a point exactly in the middle, that would have to be at 1.5. So there are numbers, and it doesn't matter what the measurement is. Doesn't matter if it's inches, millimeters, like we can associate numbers and those numbers would be like in the correct proportion to the length of the different line segments we create. That's all that's basically said. But again, I've never seen it in a proof. I don't expect it to be in a proof. This, however, will definitely be in proofs. There's not that many like line segment proofs. It's either going to have midpoint. If you see line segments, it's probably either going to have midpoint which we don't get to today, or line segment addition or segment addition. Like that's it. So line segment proof shouldn't be too bad. And you don't have to create it from scratch. You just have to pull from a drop-down menu and choose the correct one. Now we skipped the chapter on what a proof is, or the lesson on what a proof is. So very quickly, I'm going to try to explain it. What we're trying to do in a proof is, as it says, we're trying to prove that something is true. Just like at some point, somebody proved a squared plus b squared equals c squared. They proved that by using other logic and other reasoning. They're going to give us proofs where we can use any known math concept that's been proven, and we're going to prove some statement that they tell us to prove. So we make statements one by one. That's what this is. These are all the statements that we were making, and they build on each other as we try to get to the conclusion. And then we're stating why we can make that statement. The reason is all I'm going to make you come up with on mine. I'm not going to, I used to make kids figure the statements out and know how to write a statement. I'm just going to have you do reasons on, again, I don't even know how I'm going to quiz you on this yet, but I'm not going to make you do statements. If you can just explain why we're allowed to go from one step to the next step, or why we're allowed to make a statement, you should be good. And again, you'd be choosing it from a list. So you don't even have to come up with it from memory. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into it. Oh. I think we can zoom all the way in. Yeah. All right. Whoop. So here's the first thing you need to write down. Not 100% of the time, but at least 95, and I'd say closer to 99% of the time. The very first reason is going to be given. Like, there is one proof I've seen where they didn't make the very first thing given. It was like the third thing, the second or third thing. But normally we start with what we know. What does that even mean, given? What does this mean? Because that's where that came from. QT is congruent, which we'll talk about in a minute, to RV. They just make that the first statement. So the first statement and reason come from the given. What does given mean? True. That's the word. That just means that's true. They are telling us this is true. That's what given means. So the statement that the line segment QT is congruent to line segment RV is true. They're just telling us that is true. So they are telling us this line segment here is congruent to this line segment here. What does that mean? What's congruent mean? We said they're the same length is what they're telling us. That is given. We would not know that any other way unless they had marking somehow telling us, which sometimes they will do markings. So given information doesn't have to be written out like that. They could put congruence marks. If you remember what congruence marks are, oops, I did messed up. If they do that, that is also given information. They've told us that the segment on the left is the same length as the segment on the right. So it won't always be written. It could be in the image itself, and it would still be considered given. I would consider it given. I hope they would. No. Somebody's already. Hey, maybe not. Oh, yeah. So you'll be after him, but I told him I was going to hold him until we did the first proof. So that should be like a no-brainer. If the first reason is blank, assuming it's given, which like I said, 99% of the time it will be, nobody should miss it. So there's one thing you should have down. First, and even if it's not the first thing, all you got to do is say, well, wait a minute, that's given information. Even if it's the second or third time thing. They're giving you this for a reason. You're going to use it somewhere. Just find where they list it and then write given next to it. So again, given should always be a reason you get correct. So that's one easy one. The next one is also an easy one. This one you better always get correct as well. So somehow I'll highlight that one. Because all we're doing in that one is we're either going from that symbol to that symbol, or it could be the opposite. We're either going from congruent to equals, or from equals to congruent. So I didn't really get into the difference between these two before. I'll tell you briefly now what the difference is. If it says congruent, if that's the symbol, technically what that means is the shape is the exact same shape. If these two were congruent, the yellow and blue, which they're not, but if they were, assume they were, that would mean I could take this shape, this line segment, and lay it exactly on top of the other line segment, and it would look like one. Like it wouldn't extend out past it. It wouldn't be shorter. The shape is the exact same shape. That's technically what congruent means. Equals means they have the same length. So it implies a number. That's the only difference. So if one is 9, the other is 9. This is the way you will see that and why you should never miss it. It's the same exact statement. Nothing changed except for the fact that the symbol went from, in this case, that one. And it can go the other way around. It can go from equals to congruent. It does in this. Oh, and you can use reasons multiple times. Like it's not like no rule that says, oh, once you use some reason like given, or once you use a reason like definition of congruence, you're done. You can't use it again. You might use some of them 3 times, 4 times with substitution, which we'll talk about. So you should never miss that. Again, it is the same exact statement. The only thing that changed is the symbol. It either goes from congruence to equals or from equals to congruence. So there's 2 you should have down, no problem. Given and definition of congruence. The next one, look at that and see if you can tell me what that is. Everybody individually look at it. Look at the picture. I'll give you a hint. And see if you can tell me what they're saying in that statement. Give you like a minute. Don't say it out loud. Got it? Good? Look at it. Hi. Because if you, I was going to say, if your head's down, well, down, you're just going to read it. Give you a few more seconds to think about it. I'm going to give you a hint. First part says this. That's QR. That's RT. That's QT. So Ben, what did we just use? Oh, there's no good deal that one. Ever again. We got it again. What did you use? So what did we call it before? You can say what we called it before. Well, but what? Red plus green equals blue. What's that? We call it when we first started doing line safety. Oh, red plus green is blue. Seriously? You're like, how do you get it? Jordan. Little plus little is big. The red plus the green equals the blue. So all you got to do is recognize what we've already done numerous times. You're going to see that in angles again, except it's going to be called angle addition postulate instead of segment addition. So that's another one you should get. We've done that one before. I'm not going to highlight the RT and the TV equals RV, but that again would have to be segment addition if we're writing the segment addition thing over here. Don't write little plus little equals big. Use the correct name. Segment addition. So that one's segment addition. We're gonna just try to get a bunch of please put that up on the, if you want to charge it, it's got to be up on the shelf. The more proofs you, even if I just gave you 3 or 4, which I used to do that, I'm not gonna do it this year. If you just study proofs and say, oh yeah, I see how they got from that to that, that would get you through being able to pick from a drop down. You're gonna see the same things repeated over and over and over again for the most part. We're gonna actually skip. So there's 3 you should get. Again, this has not been rocket science so far. Get that it's a lot in one proof, but if you're thinking ahead of time, oh wait, it's a line segment. I'll bet maybe they use segment addition. Or the only other one really they use in line segments would be about the picture that I drew a second ago. What do you think we can use there? Potentially, we could use line segment addition, but what is true about that one? What am I telling you is true there? What do you think, Brian? What is true there? What am I telling you by those markings? No, and the one to the left that I just wrote up. So the 2 smaller segments are congruent, right? So by telling you that, what did I tell you is true about this guy? That's the midpoint. Definition of midpoint is really the only other line segment. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the only other one, but segment addition or midpoint, like 95% of the time. Wow. Well, what was it? Oh, I thought it was just trash. I want to see if you remember. It's not how important this is. See if you remember. Kids walk out with stuff or without stuff. It's only a quarter. Don't worry about it. So, yeah. So again, midpoint or segment addition. You need to be thinking that as soon as you see a proof about line segments. I guarantee you one of them is going to be in there somewhere, maybe potentially both of them, but definitely one of them. I'll show you really quickly another way to sort of remember it. If I get rid of that letter that's duplicated in the middle, it gives me QT. If I get rid of that letter that's duplicated in the middle, it gives me RV. That's also the way that line segment addition will look. Like you just kind of smashed it together and got rid of that duplicated letter. It gives you the 2 outside endpoints. We'll come back to number 4. So I want you to tell me, oh, shoot. No. So again, I am going from line 6 to line 7. What changed? What am I going to call it? Annalena, what changed? Just a sign, right? So what's the reason? Yeah, definition of congruence. They already wrote it in. So going from 6 to 7, this is why we can do that. So that's the way statements and reasons work. We are making this statement right here. We're stating that that is true. Well, the reason we can go from 6 to 7 and state that is because of the definition of congruence. Again, if just that symbol changes, nothing else changed. You guys are writing these down. I feel like you're not.
So 6 is like the given. Basically.
Well, it's not given.
I write it down.
Not given. That is a definition. Like that's what congruence is. It means if they're the same shape, then they're the same length. If they're the same length, then they're the same shape for line segment. So definition of congruence. If you want to go ahead and start the bathroom line now, I wanted to make sure we got through those. We're going to fill in the other ones though, so when you get back, hurry back so you can get the opens for them. All right, so those are the ones that like absolutely you should have down.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. So here, these next few are a little tricky. Although one of them you gotta have down too, but you'll see it over and over and over again. So hopefully it'll start to sink in later. If I am going from, what's the only thing that happened in going from 5 to 6? Look at what statement 5 is. And what did they do? And this is, I know this is a little tricky to see. Like I said, these next few are a little tricky. Malachi. That's your third one now. Next one's a referral. So again, all the little ones add up. Third time I've done one on that sheet. Next one is just I don't do anything on the sheet. I just write your referral. All right. What is the only thing that happens? Who am I going to call? Jovan. What did they do? Specifically, this side's probably the easiest to see it. How did I go from that, QR plus RT, subtract RT equals QR? Just out of it. It's a little hard to explain. What's RT subtract RT? Say it again. Zero, right? They just did math. So again, these are a little weird sometimes. If you'll notice, all they're doing in this step up above is just subtracting RT from both sides. That's just they're solving an equation. That's all they're doing. No numbers in it.
Writing it down.
There's no numbers in it. Well, you're up next, so it's written down by the time we get to the end when he gets back to. There's no numbers in it. They're just saying, like, if we had 2x plus 3 equals 7, well, we would subtract 3 and subtract 3. They're just solving the equation. When you're solving an equation, though, the technical thing that you're doing is either adding, if we would have said plus something to both sides, that'd be the addition property of a problem. If we would have multiplied on both sides, or you know how at the end you divide on both sides at the end, that would be the division property of equality. So if you just see, and again, there's no numbers, but all they're doing is math. If you just see that they're doing math, sort of like they're solving an equation, that would be one of these, again, could be addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, any of the four, property of equality. And then I'll be honest, I don't know what you would call this. I just say they subtract. Like that's just subtraction. They just, when you subtract those two things out, you get QR. I'm going to look that up and see what the reason is, but I will never quiz you on that. I don't even think the district or state will quiz you on that. They're going to, I think, more do the ones like segment addition, maybe definition of congruence. I do see given missing every once in a while. Like I want to say in one of the district questions I saw at some point last year, given was all you had to write in. Like they left the first one blank, and you just had to know the first reason was given. Did I say this last? Did I already say this? The last reason is always what you're trying to prove. Did I say that in this class? So write that down. This is what we're trying to prove. It will always come straight from this right here. Yeah. Always, always, always. Whatever you're trying to prove will be the last statement you make. No exceptions to that. Because once you do that, we're done. Nothing to do after. So the last statement will always be what they're asking us to prove. And then this one's a little tricky. Only one person has gotten it so far, although we only had 2 classes. Does anybody have any idea what line 4 would have to be? If he gets back, which probably not, I might let you go right into because he's not going to be back in. He'll probably in class. If I'm subtracting RT on both sides, what would line 4 have to be? That's not. Well, we're subtracting it, which implies that RT wasn't up here. So you got to think about what would this have to be for me to subtract RT on both sides. You don't get this part. It's not. Seeing if anybody's getting it. One person got it last class. He got it immediately. So nobody else really. Nobody got it. Any idea? Any idea? Anybody before I write it in? Again, sometimes you just got to study proofs like you would study for another test. If I'm subtracting RT from these two things, right? I'm subtracting RT from that, subtracting RT from that.
Yes.
Then those two things are what are up above. It would be QR plus RT on that side equals RT plus TV on it. So if I'm going to subtract it down here, then I needed to have it up there to subtract it from. Sometimes working backwards is easier than going from top to bottom. Now I want you to try to figure out what did we do just visually, and I'm going to start highlighting stuff in a minute. So what did we do to go from 3 to 4? Because that's the reason we're going to write right there in 4. Whatever reason, whatever property, whatever thing allows us to state this right here from this. Actually, it's kind of from 2 and 3, to tell you the truth. That helps you out. We're kind of using 2 and 3 together. See if you can figure out, don't say it out loud. Even if you don't know the word to use, just visually, what are they doing? I'm going to give you the word for it because this is a big one. One of the ones you will see in almost every proof you do. Very rarely is this not a reason. I'm going to start color coordinating. Color coordinate. All right. So if you look at what I did, it's still a little confusing. I know that QT and RV are the same thing, right? They are equal to each other. Same thing, same length, same thing. You can think of them as the same thing. I also know that QT is the same thing as what I circled in down there. So again, if we say, well, if I know QT is also equal to this, I can replace that QT with all of that stuff because they're the same. Kind of like what we did when we solved the equations, like the word problem equation. We said, okay, well, if I know one angle is 23 more than the other angle, then I can use that and replace that in the original equation where like it was x plus y equals 90. Same thing here. If I know RV, like RV is the same as this, well, then I can take all of this encircle there and replace RT with that. Or sorry, RV. Because that's what RV is equal to, right? It says right here, RV is equal to everything in that circle. Well, then I'm going to take everything in that circle and replace the RV. So I replaced this left side with what's in the red circle. I replaced the right side with what's in the green circle. That is called substitution. I said that before when we did it in word problems. I'm substituting things that are equal. You are going to see that one in almost every proof. You got to be looking for that. Sometimes it's a matter of just knowing what happened, like what theorems they use, and looking to see, well, where could I maybe use that? And substitution is one of those. See if you can figure out, well, where are they substituting? Odds are in a long proof, especially, they're substituting somewhere, especially if you got a bunch of equal signs or congruent signs. Like I got in every line that I write, I got equal signs, which means you're probably going to be substituting somewhere. If a bunch of things are equal to each other, then we can exchange them out somewhere, substitute. All right. So now on your own, I want you to try to plug in as many as you can in example, whatever we're on. And I would say you should be able to get at least 4. Not the check problem. We'll get to that tomorrow. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It is the check problem, but it's the check problem for example 1. So this problem right here, you should be able to come up with at least 4. That's my expectation. Like 4 lines. Doesn't mean 4 different reasons. Some of them might be duplicated. If you have an emergency and you want to go, just go. I'm not gonna give you a pass. You can just say it was an emergency. If you think you can do the whole thing, do the whole thing. And yeah, that'd be pretty impressive. Oh, fun shirt Tuesday theme. We're gonna actually do a theme tomorrow. We're doing like comics, like Marvel, DC. You want to do anime, like animation comics, anything. And then if you want to do the school dressing theme, I think it's favorite character or something like that tomorrow. So you have options if you want to participate tomorrow. And we're in Spider-Man. I like how we're Spider-Man. I was Spider-Man. Have fun.
Thanks.
So we're doing the check problem after that one we just did. I gave you another like 30 seconds and then we'll start working on it. Like I said, there should be 4 lines you can complete on your own. At least. Really more than that.
What page?
Same page. The check problem right below it. And you should be able to get 4 lines of it. Not 4 different reasons, 4 lines. That work? Yeah, you're writing them in. And the more proofs you have worked out from the book, the better you're going to do on the, however I quiz you on this, because I'm definitely going to take it straight from the book on whatever I want. If I get it. I haven't looked at the district test on this yet. Oh, did I tell you to bring your laptops? Yeah, we did, right? Because we said this class was split in this case. So both days you'll need your laptops. And those will all somehow be for grades as well. And you don't have any more new quizzes, and you're cramming a lot of retakes. And oh, I am going to extend the deadline. The quiz that's not written up there is the 3-dimensional figures. It was the cylinders and the like the surface area and volume. That'll be next Wednesday. That'll be the deadline now. I normally don't do anything the last week of the quarter, but we did just have a hurricane, so I'm going to go ahead and take that exception. All right. So it says CE, line segment CE is congruent to line segment FE. Line segment ED is congruent to line segment EG. What's our reason? Everybody going to get that one right. If you didn't get that one right, you didn't do much during the whole. Given. Told you it's going to start with given. Just to make sure, though, look up where it, gives you the, and just make sure that that matches up. So that first one is given. Now, again, next one, you pay attention, you better get the next one right. What is the next one? What's the only thing that changed? Gray, what's the only thing that changed? We just changed the symbol, right? So what is the reason then? Oh, see, that's no bueno. No bueno. I made a big deal out of this reason. So do we add 2 things together and make them equal to something? What's the only thing that, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yes, the only thing that changed, it's the same line. It's the same line. Everything went straight down to there. All that changed is that symbol. Definition of congruence. That's what you gotta have down. Nothing changes except the symbol. So that's the definition of congruence. Now, it can't be segment addition if we're not adding something together. So what's the next one? That's segment addition. We are taking this little segment, CE, adding it to this little segment. And we are getting this whole segment here. Little plus little is big. So that's segment addition. And the next one is also segment addition. Same thing, just with the other line, going left and right. Little plus little is big. So you should have gotten the first 4 on those. Line 3 and 4 are both segment additions. They put them on 2 separate lines. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Scratch that. I'm wrong. Segment edition is 3 and 4. I'm sorry, 3 and 5. Yeah, I forgot they split it up. They didn't do them back to back. So 3 and 5. If you wrote the wrong thing there, you better change it. 3 and 5 are segment edition. Because again, if we just smushed them together and got rid of that,
Is this the definition of convert?
the last one, yeah, again, all we did is change the symbol. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the easy ones. Like as long as you get those, you'll be fine. At least on myself. I don't know what the district's doing.
Then what if the
What do you think? What do we do? So somehow we got this from something.
because like it's
No, not congruence.
they're setting them equal to that other line that is like the same length. And
No, definitely wouldn't be congruence.
I have a question. Can you solve this for me real quick?
Is it a quiz?
No, it's just a question that I think she's wrong.
Is that X
Wouldn't it be
times
4?
it?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be 4x?
Well,
you
I can't.
distribute-
You can't solve it.
No, what?
There's
Because you
not equal to
distribute it,
anything.
so that's 4/4, that's 1, so it cancels out. And then 4 times
Well,
x is
no,
4x.
no, you don't multiply it again. You only multiply it times one of those two. You multiply it times both if you're adding. You're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
I do too. I'm going to tell her.
Oh, I was.
You don't have any home games this week, right?
Huh?
You don't have any home games this week, right?
I don't think so.
I have a question. Are we gonna have touring after school today?
I'm not planning on it. I mean, if somebody shows up to do a quiz, we could maybe do something.
Okay, so when you say
So
gonna do touring,
tutoring is going to be Thursday
okay,
during lunch and after school.
that means I cannot go to G2 to do touring in there. I'll
You
have
can always go to G2. You don't have to come to me. You can go to G2 whenever you
Okay,
want.
if I go to G2 and I do touring there, you'll count that as tutoring or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you just have to have them sign something
What is that they
or
have?
make sure they know your name because I'll say, hey, did Justin come in and do tutoring with you yesterday? And as long as, you worked with them, they'll know that you were in there.
What is it
I
that
think
we
you have to sign in anyway. Just get them to write a piece of paper. I worked with Justin for
all
30
right.
minutes.
So because I have a bunch of stuff that I have to like make up and like retake. So what papers like if I want some activities, should I take the book? Do you recommend me that?
Either that or take a picture of the pages or something like that. Any of that. Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, if you have your laptop, you can do those assignments on your laptop with them, and they can
No.
help you do those. Because it's the
Yeah.
same problems, the ones that I assigned in the online book. Or iExcels, you can do iExcels in
If
there.
I go on McGraw-Hill, you're gonna have all those assigned already.
They're already assigned. Yeah, they're the ones that you saw there. They're showing because I've already assigned them. Yeah, they don't show up for me unless I've assigned them to you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah. Holy cow, sparkling. 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 What's up?
How
You're
was your
sparkling. I know. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think the guys were wearing their uniforms today. Were you?